Hey y'all, welcome back to the Briles Bunch and to another What's for Dinner video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 4 easy meals that we've had recently, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do like What's for Dinner videos, then make sure you are subscribed and have that notification bell turned on so that you don't miss out on any future videos. But let's get on into cooking. For the first recipe, we're going to be doing an easy chicken casserole recipe, and I usually make my chicken casserole a little differently, but I wanted to try this kind out because it was so easy with some stuffing. So I do have 2 chicken breasts cut up completely. We've got a cup of chicken broth. I use the reduced sodium kind, and then you can use any kind of stovetop, the chicken flavored, but I use the savory herbs. We've got a can of cream of celery and a can of cream of chicken. So after I cut up all the chicken into bite-sized pieces, I took a bowl out and mixed together the 1 cup of chicken broth with the 2 cans of the cream of celery and cream of chicken soup in there, mix it all together and set it to the side, because then we are going to layer up everything into a casserole pan or a Dutch oven. I didn't have anything to cover my casserole with, so I did use the Dutch oven for this and just spread out all the chicken on the bottom, then pour over that cream of everything mixture, and then you want to pour the stuffing right on top. I did keep just a little bit of that cream mixture to put on top just to kind of not let the stuffing on top be so dry, and added a little bit extra chicken broth on top too and kind of mix that around. If you cook this in a casserole dish, just put some aluminum foil on it, but since I didn't have any at the moment, I used this pan, like I said, but I baked it on 350 for about 35 minutes. You just want to cook it until your chicken is done, and that is it. We served it up with some steamable broccoli and some baby shark mac and cheese on the side. I think this chicken casserole turned out pretty good for an easy one. I do still prefer my own personally, and I would suggest using the chicken flavored stovetop stuffing, but overall, I still think this turned out pretty good. This next recipe was a really good one and very easy as well. We're going to make some stuffed peppers in the Instant Pot. So you just stuff everything into the peppers. I used 5 different colored bell peppers and an egg. We've got a pound of ground beef, some brown rice, a can of Rotel. I think I ended up only using half of a can of the Rotel and saved some for another recipe. Then I used half a cup of chicken broth. I also used a small onion, a few cloves of garlic, and then for seasonings I used Italian seasoning, salt, and pepper, and then we also had some Colby and Monterey Jack shredded cheese as well. So first I had to prep everything, which consisted of taking the tops off of the peppers and getting all the stuff in the middle of them out. And if you don't want to waste the tops of them, I took all 5 of those because that was quite a bit at that point, and cut them up and put them in the fridge to do with like eggs or other recipes throughout the week. Then I chopped up my onion and then started adding everything into the bowl to mix together. So I've got my pound of ground beef, an egg, the chopped up onion. We've got a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and the Italian seasoning. I used a tablespoon of that. And then the 1.5 cups of rice and 1.5 cups of shredded cheese, half the Rotel, which I saved the other half as well. And then I minced the 3 cloves of garlic too. After mixing it up, I decided to add some Worcestershire sauce too, because I just thought it would give it some good flavor, and I was right, it really did. I think it kind of added the flavor that it needed. But then after I got everything mixed up, you stuff those all the way to the top, even a little more if you want. This mixture had enough to probably do 6 or 7, but we didn't have any more bell peppers, so that was unfortunate, and I don't think that many would have fit in the Instant Pot, but it fed our family plenty with a couple left over. So I stuck them in the Instant Pot after sticking the 1/2 cup of broth in the bottom. I did use the trivet, and you do want to use that because to get them out, I used pot holders and pulled them out at the end. But you do want to seal that and make sure, you know, the air is sealed too. And then I cooked these on 9 minutes, and they were perfectly done on the inside. I was a little skeptical that all the meat would get cooked all the way through, but afterwards it was fine. You do let it naturally release for about 5 minutes first, and then let out the rest of the air. Then you just want to sprinkle the rest of the cheese on top. It's about a 1/2 cup, and you can do more or less depending on what you want. Just stick the lid on for a couple minutes to let that cheese melt, and that was it. We didn't serve it with anything. It was very filling just how it was. Definitely a yummy meal. This next meal is something that we had been wanting to try for a while, and it definitely didn't disappoint. It was so good. We made baked buttermilk chicken with some milk gravy on top. So I did marinate the chicken overnight with some buttermilk, and I also used some flour, mayo, cheese, butter, Dijon mustard. We had some breadcrumbs, salt and pepper. This was so yummy. And then this milk gravy I had actually made in a recent video, and it was so good, and I knew I wanted to try it with some buttermilk chicken. But here's the recipe. I'm not going to go into detail with it. I'll leave the link to that video down below though if you want to check out to see how it turned out, which you'll see how it ends up at the end of this video too. But first, I mixed together the cup of breadcrumbs with a tablespoon of butter, and then mixed it together with some Parmesan cheese. I used half a cup of that, mixed it together and set it aside. In a separate bowl, I mixed together the rest of the ingredients. So I did half a cup of buttermilk, a tablespoon of mayo, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and 2 tablespoons of flour, and mix that together really well. I went ahead and preheated the oven to 350, then took my chicken strips out of the buttermilk and dipped them into the mayo buttermilk mixture before dipping them into the breadcrumb and cheese mixture, and then set them on my sprayed pan and just repeat until you get them all like that. Kind of let the excess liquid fall off of them though before dipping them into the bread mixture. The recipe I was following for this one said to cook them for 45 minutes, but that would have been way too long for mine. It took probably about 30 minutes flipping them halfway through, and I did put them on the broiler, like turn the broil on for a few minutes just to brown them up a little bit. Here is the gravy that we had with it on top of it. We served this with some sweet potato fries that I stuck in the air fryer and some green beans with just salt, pepper, and butter on it. This meal was so satisfying. That chicken is delicious. The milk gravy on top just completely makes it so good. This next night we had 2 different recipes going. We did the bacon wrapped jalapenos, which I'm sure a lot of people have tried. If you haven't, you definitely should. They're so delicious. And then we also did some air fried potatoes that turned out really yummy too. So for the jalapenos, you want to cut them in half and de-seed them. So take out all the seeds in them, takes out the spice a little bit, and then stuff them, the shell, is that what I call it? I don't know. Put cream cheese into it and then wrap them each with a piece of bacon and then stick them in the oven on, I think we did 375, and we just cook them until they're done to our liking. I know everybody likes their bacon done to different temps or like, darkness. We like ours kind of crispy, so that's how much we do that. So for the potatoes, I cut some red potatoes into bite-sized pieces, did some olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, and some rosemary. Just kind of, did it to my liking, mixed it all together. These potatoes were so good though. Once I got all the seasonings mixed together, I stuck them in the air fryer on 400 for about 10 minutes and then shook them up after the 10 minutes and did an additional 10 minutes. Oh, we also did baked beans this night. So for my baked beans, I do a swirl of ketchup, a swirl of mustard, some brown sugar, onions, and barbecue sauce in mine. And they turn out great every time. I usually do put them in the oven though, if I'm making them for like a gathering. But otherwise for us, I just stick them on the stove like I did. These jalapenos with the potatoes and baked beans is probably one of my favorite meals of the week. That's going to be it for this video though. I hope you guys enjoyed it and that it gave you some new meal inspiration. If you did enjoy it, then leave me a comment down below. Let me know which one was your favorite. Give the video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, whatever you want to do. But I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye y'all.